The woman. They tried to shame until they found out who she really was. It was supposed to be the kind of summer afternoon you dream about, when you've worked 70-hour weeks, fielded non-stop phone calls, and carried the weight of a state's safety on your shoulders. For Camille Rhodes, it was her one rare day off. No security briefings, no conference calls, just sunshine, a turquoise pool, and the rhythmic echo of water lapping at the tile edges of her luxury condominium in Charleston, South Carolina. Camille wasn't anyone's typical neighbor. Beneath the calm surface of her life as a tenant in Unit 11, a penthouse, she carried a badge that commanded power far beyond the zip code. Camille was the first Black woman to be appointed as special agent in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Southeastern Division, a title that came with immense respect. And unfortunately, days like this, she slipped into the pool, letting the cool water soothe months of accumulated pressure. She wore no makeup, no badge, no rank, just a navy blue one-piece swimsuit and a desire to simply be. But peace for some is a threat. This is a private pool. You don't belong here. The voice stabbed through the air like a needle through a glass. Camille paused mid-stroke and looked toward the entrance. A white woman, late 40s blonde. Bob oversized black sunglasses strutted toward her. Her name was Diane. The residents called her that quietly. The HOA queen, behind closed doors. Camille had never spoken to her. "Excuse me," Camille asked, breath even. Diane pointed with a manicured finger. "I said, this pool is for residents only. And I know everyone who lives here." Camille swam to the pool edge and stood slowly, droplets tracing lines down her shoulders. "Unit 11A, she replied. "Top floor." Diane folded her arms. "Sure, and I'm Beyonce." "You can't just sneak in here, honey. I'm calling security." Some residents nearby stirred, watching quietly from behind sunglasses and paperback novels. Phones were lifted, but not to call, to record. Camille exhaled slowly, her patience tight but steady. "You can do what you think is right." Diane, now fuming, stomped away with her phone to her ear. "Yes, I need an officer. There's a trespasser at 104 Magnolia Place, Black female, refusing to leave the premises." She made sure to emphasize the words. Camille sat on a lounge chair, reached into her tote, and calmly pulled out her driver's license, her tenant key card, and something else. Her bureau badge tucked quietly in a slim black case. 10 minutes later, 2 Charleston PD officers arrived. One young and clearly nervous. The other older, bored and mildly annoyed. "Ma'am," the older officer began, addressing Diane. "You reported a possible trespasser." "Yes, that one." She pointed again at Camille, who was now sitting legs crossed, sunglasses on. "Do you live here, ma'am?" the officer asked Camille. She extended her ID and badge, calmly, Unit 11A. An FBI special agent, Camille Rhodes. "This is my day off?" Or was. The younger cop's eyes widened. The older one took the badge, radioed it in, and the dispatcher confirmed within seconds. "SAC Camille Rhodes, confirmed." The officer clicked off the radio. "That won't be necessary." Diane's face turned pale. "Wait, FBI." Camille stood calm and powerful. "You called the cops on a federal officer because you didn't recognize me, because I didn't look like what you expected." The younger cop muttered under his breath, "Jesus, not again." Camille stepped closer to Diane. "You filed a false report. You profiled me. You lied to law enforcement. That's a federal offense. I didn't know. I thought." "You thought wrong," Camille said. The officer asked Camille if she wanted to press charges. She paused. A long moment. "No, She finally said, "Not today, but let this be your warning." She looked Diane dead in the eye. "Next time you see a black woman minding her business, keep walking, or I won't be so kind." Diane nodded frantically, mumbling apologies before practically running from the pool area. The officers gave Camille a knowing nod. "We're sorry, ma'am, for everything." Camille just offered a wry smile. "Next time, maybe ask some questions before jumping to conclusions." They nodded. She turned, walked back to her lounge chair, and slid into the water. It could have ended there, but it didn't. Someone had filmed the entire thing. By that evening, the footage had gone viral. The title read, "HOA, Karen tries to remove FBI agent from her own pool." It hit Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. Local news picked it up. CNN called. Within 48 hours, Camille's inbox was flooded with requests. Women emailed from across the country. "Thank you for holding your ground. You spoke for all of us. I wish I had your composure." But Camille wasn't celebrating. She was exhausted because this wasn't just about one woman and one pool. It was about how many times she'd had to show ID before being believed. About how many elevators went quiet when she walked in. About how many people asked if she was really in charge. So she wrote a letter, not to Diane, but to the building's HOA, and she delivered it in person. In that letter, she told them this: "It is not my responsibility to educate every resident on what respect looks like, but it is your responsibility to create a community where no one feels interrogated for existing." She included recommendations, bias training posted policies, and a resident welcome program that emphasized inclusion, not just access codes. To their credit, the HOA listened. They issued a public apology. Diane was removed from her position on the HOA board, and a month later, a new policy was posted in the building lobby. No resident shall ever be profiled, harassed, or approached based on race, gender, or appearance, period. That should have been the end of the story, but there was one more ripple. 3 weeks later, Camille received an envelope. No return address. Inside was a note written in tight cursive. "I saw what you did. My daughter watched it too. She now wants to join the FBI." There was also a photo. A little black girl about 10 years old, holding a hand-drawn badge and beaming. Camille sat down. For the first time since that day, she wept. Weeks later, Camille was asked to speak at a local high school, an optional talk on leadership and courage. She initially declined, but then she thought of that poolside moment and the many eyes that had watched, waiting to see how she'd respond. She walked into the school auditorium, wearing a simple navy blazer and jeans. When she began to speak, it wasn't about the FBI or laws or protocol. It was about respect. "I didn't raise my voice that day," she said, "because I've learned that sometimes power doesn't shout. It stands still." She told them about the little girl by the mailbox, about how silence can echo louder than yelling, about why being seen for who you are shouldn't have to come after a confrontation. And after the talk, one of the students, a teenage boy who had remained quiet the whole time, approached her and said, "My mom gets treated like that at work. I wish she saw this." Camille placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then tell her you're proud of her. Tell her she's already doing more than enough." He nodded, and in that moment, Camille realized her day off may have been ruined. But something far more meaningful had happened. She hadn't just defended herself. She'd sparked a ripple. So, the next time someone tries to reduce you, to question your worth, to challenge your place in a space you've earned, Remember Camille Rhodes. Remember that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it stands in a swimsuit, calm and composed, and says, I belong here. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful real-life stories. Your support helps us bring you more content that uplifts challenges and reminds us all of our worth. Thank you for watching, and never forget, you belong.